This video is sponsored by Sonata, the best royalty-free music for your videos, which you can check out using the link in the description. According to a recent study, only 14% of adults stated they preferred viewing a new movie in the cinema, while 36% preferred streaming it from a device at home. While this trend may have been expedited by the pandemic, I think it's still a trend that's on the rise regardless. Fewer and fewer people are going to the cinemas anymore, and I think that's kind of sad. And I mean, look, I get it, I'm guilty of it too. Convenience outweighs viewing experience. 80% of my cinematic diet is probably consumed at home from a TV or a laptop, rather than on the big screen. Before this video becomes too much of a lamentation about the death of cinema, I'd like to flip it to remind us why going to the cinema is still the superior experience. By going over 4 reasons we should still make the effort to get out of the house and go to the movies. One of the biggest issues of watching movies from home comes from the inconsistency of the image. Filmmakers spend years developing their craft, putting blood, sweat, and tears into lighting, testing for the perfect lenses, and tweaking nuances of color on calibrated monitors in the grade, only to have 60% or so of the audience watch the final product from a smartphone with a cracked screen, in a bright room full of reflections. Cinema is a medium which is all about refining and tweaking the details in order to create a lasting artwork. A lot of this is undone by watching the final product in a suboptimal viewing environment. I mean, yes, you can get the gist of the visuals, but it's kind of like listening to an album that was carefully, meticulously written, recorded, mixed, and mastered on a noisy aeroplane with the cheapest pair of headphones sold in the 7-Eleven. You can kind of make out most of the lyrics and melody, but all the sonic nuance that the artist spends their time and energy creating is lost. Most movie complexes use high-end digital cinema projectors that are DCI compliant, tested to output a high standard of quality images in a dark, light-free environment. This means that the viewing experience at different cinemas around the world will be almost identical. Color and contrast will be consistent, and resolution is standardized to either 2K or 4K. This differs from home viewing a movie. Different screens made by different manufacturers have different resolutions, will display color and contrast inconsistently at varying levels of brightness, and don't have to conform to any compliance standards. Using different media players may also affect the color and luminance information. For example, a pet peeve of mine is that Apple's QuickTime player shifts the gamma curve and plays video files with different contrast from the original file. Also, unless you are viewing a movie at night with all the lights in the house off, there will be excess ambient light that may cause reflections or dilute the brightness of the image. One of the most notable impacts that viewing a movie at home has is that it shifts the experience from being a communal one to being an individual one. The idea of cinema was born out of creating a medium which could be shared by an audience. I'd say that communal viewing heightens the effect that a film has on us. Whatever emotion the filmmakers impart to the audience is heightened when we share it as a group. For horror films, you can hear the audience gasp. For comedies, laughter rings out. And for compelling dramas, you can almost feel a communal silent focus take hold. I think part of this reaction comes from it being an uninterrupted viewing experience. Streaming sites are set up in a way to ease and encourage the process of watching films in little segments. Watch for 5 minutes, pause and make something to eat, watch for another 10 minutes while you simultaneously browse your phone, skip forward past a scene you get bored of, then come back the next day and find the movie paused right where you left off, so that you can begin this fragmented viewing experience again. Filmmakers work extremely hard to design each film as a continuous, cohesive experience that suspends your disbelief and envelops you in the world of the story. Breaking down the medium by stopping and starting it destroys a movie's ability to take hold of you. The cinema is so important because it forces you to view a film as it was intended to be viewed, as a single, uninterrupted experience. Sometimes filmmakers want to test your patience and use more drawn-out scenes to support their point of view of the story. Sitting through a movie from beginning to end, even if you don't care for the film, will at least give you a complete idea of what the filmmaker was intending to do. Plus, in today's world where everything is so sped up and our attention spans have become shorter than ever before, I think turning off your phone and watching a complete film from start to finish is an important mental exercise we should all regularly perform. We've already mentioned movie theaters provide a more consistent image, but visuals are only half of a movie. The other half is sound. Music plays an incredibly important role by altering the tone and emotions that we feel about the story on screen. One way to get your music selection right is with today's sponsor, Sonata. Sonata provides a high-quality selection of music that you can use with an unlimited license for all of your film projects, whether you're making short films, videography content, or YouTube videos. That's why I use Sonata's music in my videos. You can find the right track easily by using their filtering tools that can categorize the music by genre, mood, themes, instruments, and other criteria, which cuts down on time spent browsing. So if you're looking for incredible affordable music for your videos starting from $9.99 a month, then I'd recommend checking out Sonata. You can check out Sonata by getting a 30-day free trial using my link below, which you can cancel anytime, and still use any tracks during that trial period. So go check it out today. The sound that you hear in a cinema is far more immersive than that from a laptop, phone, or TV. This is because of surround sound. Consumer display products like a laptop typically have a single speaker built into the device that emanates sound from one source or direction. Cinemas have surround sound which use multiple speakers in multiple positions to provide sound that is more immersive and which surrounds you 360 degrees. Like high-end cinema projectors which are standardized, so too is sound. The global standard is Dolby Digital, which provides an audio mix with multiple channels, such as Dolby Digital 5.1. This provides 3 front channels, which are sent to separate speakers, center, left, and right, which provide clean dialogue and placement of on-screen sounds. 2 twin surround channels are typically placed on the sides and behind the audience to provide a fuller 360-degree listening experience. A low-frequency channel that provides bass effects with about 1/10 of the bandwidth of the other channels makes up the final 0.1. The cinema is therefore set up to provide a more captivating sonic experience that places you in the center of the action and better draws you into the world of the movie. The final reason to go to the cinema is less of a practical one and more of a conceptual one, but is arguably the most important. This may seem a bit over the top, and hopefully no one takes offense, but I think a comparison can be made between cinema and religion in the way that they are presented. In most religions, it is of course possible to practice from home without interacting with others through meditation or prayer. However, all major religions have physical spaces which bring communities together. Temples, churches, mosques. Often these spaces are large, impressively built, and feature significant iconography. I think as humans we are drawn to spaces and get some kind of greater, more significant experience from coming together as a collective in a space that is designed and devoted to that experience. Standing in the queue for popcorn, buying tickets, sitting amongst a group of people, watching trailers. It's almost ritualistic and builds up a level of excitement and reverence for the film we're about to watch. An image which is projected onto a massive screen has to be taken more seriously than one on a smartphone. The issue with having a continuous, never-ending supply of content to stream at home on a laptop is that it diminishes the importance of the medium. It makes movies more mundane and everyday. Taking the time to visit the cinema builds anticipation and makes it more of an experience. So much effort goes into making movies as a work of art. I think they should be appreciated as such and not given the same gravity as this YouTube video, for example. They are different mediums. The The smaller the screen becomes, the more that watching a film turns into an individual experience rather than a group experience that it was designed to be. Going to the movies may be less practical than just binging the latest release on a laptop, but the experience of going to a cinema elevates movies into the unique medium that they are. Thanks everyone for watching. Let me know if you prefer going to the cinema or watching movies from home. I'd like to say a special thanks to all the patrons who continue to keep the channel going with their support. Otherwise, until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.